I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through. I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go. The only thing that I know, you were my gravity, but now I had to leave. I will let you go. Why do you think that I want? Why do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity. 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 I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome as we continue on our regular season finale race weekend here from the Auto Club Speedway. Getting ready now for the Cup Series drivers to take to this 2-mile speedway / super speedway, whichever way you want to call it, and find out who's going to be starting on the pole position here this weekend. We kick things off here with the expedited 5-minute qualifying session for the go or go home drivers. 5 drivers showing up here this weekend at the Auto Club Speedway to vie for 2 available spots in tomorrow afternoon's starting lineup. And a former champion in Chris Dollerton is going to be the first one out there. Looks like Kyle Langland also going to follow him off of pit lane. Chris Dollerton looking to make his 4th start on the season, 1 top 5 in his 3 previous starts, average finish of 17th. And that all-star car at Blue Wall Automotive that has shown some really good speed here the last couple of weeks. We saw, who was it? Was it Jose Mills, I want to say? Yeah, Jose Mills qualified into the Hanford race 2 weeks ago. Last week, Trey Wright got a solid top 5 finish at Bristol Dirt, and now Dollerton looks to qualify the Blue Oval Automotive All-Star car into its 3rd straight race. Bryce Egan, Autumn Brooks, and Hiccup Bush, the other 3 drivers that will be attempting to qualify here this afternoon. We'll see quite a number of these drivers in just a little bit, couple of hours' time, in the Duracell Ultra Light Series race. Dollerton going to be starting from the outside of the front row. Langland behind him, going to be starting on the pole position. Autumn Brooks trying to get into a playoff spot, going to be starting pretty deep in the field, as I believe we've got some up-to-speed laps turned here. Dollerton, Langland with the draft right now 1 and 2. Langland with a 41.382. Hiccup Bush, I believe, has just come out onto the racetrack, as has Bryce Egan. Autumn Brooks, I believe, is currently on the clock. Draft is certainly going to come into play, and I think Langland is in a beautiful spot right now as he'll improve. 41.057. I will be very surprised if anybody topples the 93, so the fight might be for 2nd place here, as Dollerton currently holds it at a 41.284. We're yet to really have any other official up-to-speed lap times come in just yet. I believe Autumn Brooks is just about to turn her first lap here. Let's see if she can get into the 2s. Nowhere close yet. 41.592. Dollerton about to come around here again. I don't know how much benefit he's getting of draft with the 93 being behind him. But he'll be improved from a 2.84 to a 2.72. Langland now into the 40.9s. So that's just continuing to solidify him into tomorrow afternoon starting lineup. Hiccup Bush with a 41.7. That just got beaten by Bryce Egan with a 41.502. That's only good enough for third place right now. All these drivers that don't have the benefit of draft are running about 0.3 slower than what Dollarton has been able to put down. As soon as I say that, Autumn Brooks clocks in with a 41.191. So that puts her to P2. Let's see now, maybe with Langland up closer to Dollarton, if he can compete with that 191. No, he does not. Actually slower that lap. Same there for Kyle Langland, though I think he's pretty much locked in with his 40.9. Let's see what Hiccup Bush can do. 41.510, so he still sits fifth. Improvement there to a 41.380 for Bryce Egan, but that is only good enough for third place. Or correction, fourth. Autumn Brooks. Yeah, I think that might have been the flyer lap for her. I don't think we're going to see her be able to improve on that 41.191. Now it's down to Chris Dollarton here with 20 seconds remaining. Can he, with the aid of the draft of the 93, beat Autumn Brooks' lap time? And right there, the answer is no. Still in the 41.3s. The car getting the draft got the benefit of the tow. The car giving the draft did not get the benefit in the lap time. Langland and Brooks, unless something drastically happens here, look like they will be the ones. Hold the phone, though. Bryce Egan, I think, is still on the clock here for this lap, and he improved that last time to a 41.249. If he can find a little bit more speed here on this lap, he might be able to snipe Brooks. He's about 800ths off. Red flag is out, but I believe he crossed the line before zeros were on the clock, so I believe we are counting this lap. Let's see as he makes his way out of turn 4. This is for all the marbles to get that second spot. Can Egan find it? Survey says lap didn't count. I thought he got to the line in time, but apparently he did not. And Kyle Langland, who's going to be starting from the pole position for the lights race here later on this afternoon, fastest and goer go home qualifying, so he will pull off the double this weekend, as will Autumn Brooks, who clocks in second. Egan, Dollarton, and Hiccup Bush are going to be the DNQs here this weekend from Auto Club. Here's a look at the disparity of the lap times. 40.9, 41.1, then a couple of 41.2s there with Egan and Dollarton. Hiccup Bush, 41.4, as third through fifth will fail to qualify here this weekend. We'll still see Dollarton later on here in the Light Series race for Egan and Bush. They will attempt to qualify again next week when the playoffs begin at Gateway. So Langland and Brooks will join the other 40 chartered drivers here in just a moment as we find out who's going to start this regular season finale from the pole after this quick commercial break. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast on NNSCRA TV. If you enjoyed your watching, it would help us out a lot if you'd hit that like button. Also, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to become a part of the NNSCRA crew today. And if you're on your phone, be sure to click that bell to be notified whenever we have a broadcast here on NNSCRA TV. Once again, we thank you for your support, and we hope you continue to enjoy today's broadcast. Getting ready to run for the pole position here for the regular season finale. And yes, you may have noticed something, and you would be correct. You may have noticed that all of a sudden in between those commercial breaks, we changed track versions. And that's because, unfortunately, the racetrack that we were originally going to run here on the Cup Series side that we just had the knockout qualifying session with, for some reason it only holds 39 drivers. And so we had to make a little bit of an audible right here in the middle of the broadcast. So, unfortunate in that regard. It's still Auto Club. It's still going to be a great race. Jury is out whether or not we're going to have this be the version for the Light Series drivers here later on this afternoon or not. But we get set here to find out who's going to get the pole position for this regular season finale. Eric Sadler going to be the driver that will be putting down the first official lap time and setting the benchmark, if you will, for all the rest of the drivers in the field. We did this on the Light Series side. We're going to do the same on the Cup Series side. Try and fill in all of the playoff scenarios here for tomorrow afternoon's race. So that way you are aware of what the drivers look like as far as their chances of advancing into the postseason before we even take the green flag tomorrow afternoon at 1. So first, let's go down the list of drivers that we know for absolute certain are going to be locked into the playoffs regardless of what happens here tomorrow afternoon. And there actually are quite a few drivers that are underneath that. And basically, it's drivers that would be a total of 42 points ahead of the 10th in the standings cut line. Remember, the top 10 in points, they are locked into the playoffs regardless of if they've won or not. Right now, those drivers would include the following: Ryan Brommer, James Qualls, last week's winner Alexander Rowe, Carson Gum, Levi McIntyre, and Summer Henson. Those drivers are all locked into the playoffs on points. McIntyre, the only driver of those I named that has not gone to victory lane this season. There are other drivers that are locked in based off of their multiple wins on the season and their positioning in points, not allowing them to drop out of the top 30 in the standings. Those drivers would include 4-time winner Destin Bolin, who is 16th in overall points, and 3-time winner Matt Haas, who is 9th in the standings. So those drivers would be locked in through their victories. That brings our total up to 8 drivers locked in. Right now, as far as the cut line is concerned, Nick Gunther is 7th in points. He is a total of 24 points ahead of the cut line. So he would be looking for at least a 18th or better finishing position tomorrow afternoon to lock in. Jack Mitchell, now he has a victory, so he could fall out of the top 10 and into a wild card conversation. But to point his way in, as he is a total of 11 points ahead of the cut line, he would have to finish in, try to quickly do the math here, I believe he would have to finish in the top 15 to be locked in on points. And Michael Norman is the cut line driver coming into this weekend. He, of course, has that victory at Watkins Glen, so if he fell out of the top 10, he could fall into a wild card spot, but he'll be a driver we'll be keeping very close eye on here during the course of tomorrow afternoon's race. Wild card positions, who's got them right now? Well, Destin Bolin, we already documented, is locked in with his victories. Right now, he'd be in the number 1 wild card spot. Second wild card spot would currently go to Eric Sadler, who we're focused on right now, was top of the board before Anthony McCrory toppled him off of that. So we'll find the 61 here real quickly. Where is he at? There he is, the Panda Express Mazda. And he just got topped by Michael Norman all of a sudden there. But Eric Sadler, Reggie Fogelman, right now 11th and 12th in points. They're in really good shape. They could point their way up into the top 10. But being up as high as they are in the point standings, even if we had another multi-time winner go to victory lane here tomorrow, I believe those two would be safe. There's only one scenario, though, that could put one of those two in jeopardy. If they don't get up into the top 10 in points, and we have R.J. Bishop, Nathan Ormond, or Daniel Voiles go to victory lane tomorrow, getting their second win on the season, Matt Haas drops out of the top 10 in points, and Connor Breton moves back into the top 30 in the standings. That would then put 4 multi-time winners inside of that 11th through 30th positioning in the standings, which would then make it very close there for Sadler and Fogelman to get the final 2 wild card spots. And honestly, at this point in time, I think Bishop, Ormond, and Voiles have to win. The scenarios are just too close. There's too many possibilities of multi-time winners dropping out of the top 10 or moving back in the top 30. I think those former winners are coming into this race weekend in must-win scenarios. There are other drivers, though, that could easily win their way into a wild card position. Those drivers would include Joshua Osborne, Eric Monaco, Quentin Moore, and to some lower degree, Daniel Bouchard, Zachary Fitzwater, Benjamin Miles, Matt McIntyre, and Jesse Turner. Now, those drivers I just mentioned as well, add in also Destin Bolin, Eric Sadler, Reggie Fogelman. Mathematically, they could point their way up into the top 10 as well for a points-paying playoff position. So a lot of options there for some of those drivers between 11th through 21st in points. And then there's just drivers coming into this weekend. They're looking to get a checkered flag, but I don't think it's going to make any difference of them going playoff racing or not. I think they now are mathematically ineligible of any scenario getting them into the postseason. Those drivers right now, if we were going down the list, would include Laura Chung, Caleb Fogler, Anthony McCurry, Cole Deaver, Casey Hoyt, Dylan Young, defending champion Jessica Shelton, Kyler Sustre, Dylan Poteet, who was in the Final Four for the championship 1 season ago, Cody Lamas, former champion Kyle Matthews, Keith Batson, a former winner on the season, Benjamin Snyder, and Austin LaPlante. Mathematically, they cannot garner enough points, even with a victory here tomorrow afternoon, to be eligible for a spot in the playoffs. Well, Michael Norman, Matt McIntyre, those are two drivers that could be eligible for the playoffs. Michael right now 10th in points, Matt McIntyre 20th. They are currently the front row as they have the two fastest speeds, the only two drivers to eclipse the 39.7s. Matt McIntyre with a 39.683. Michael Norman, I think, has got a death grip on the pole with a 39.366. That's 0.3 faster than even his teammate. Michael looking for his second pole on the season, which would join him with Nick Gunther, Eric Monaco, Caleb Fogler, Anthony McCurry, Jessica Shelton, and Dylan Poteet as a multi-time pole sitter here in Season 8. Carson Gum right there behind him knows he'll be going playoff racing with his 3 victories on the season. Also, if we're talking about the regular season championship, who is still eligible to fight for that? Ryan Brommer, James Qualls, Alexander Rowe, and Carson Gum, I believe, would be those 4 drivers. Carson Gum would be a long shot as he's 37 points back. Rowe is minus 27. Qualls is minus 24 to Brommer. So Brommer has a pretty healthy points lead coming into this one. And I believe to wrap up that regular season championship for Brommer, he would just have to finish in the top 15 here tomorrow afternoon. No way anybody else will be able to close up enough points on him, even with a victory, to take those valuable 15 bonus points when the first round of the playoffs are reformatted in preparation for Gateway. You're seeing your speed scrolling on the top of the screen there. Michael Norman just out here logging some laps now, as he will be starting from the pole here tomorrow afternoon. Matt McIntyre second, Laura Chung, Eric Sadler, Summer Henson going to be the top 5, with Levi McIntyre, Anthony McCurry, Caleb Fuller, Dylan Young, and James Qualls the top 10. The Fords bringing some great speed here again this week, as 6 of them up inside of the top 10. A couple of Toyotas out of Auto Junction Racing, Mazda out of Garage 55, and the lone Chevrolet of Qualls out of Joanna Atwood Motorsports. Zeros on the clock. Scoring will cease here in just a moment. I believe Michael Norman right there will be the first of those putting down their final lap times here in this qualifying session. His 39.366 going to garner him his second pole on the season. Michael has picked quite the right time to get hot after that victory a couple of weeks ago at Watkins Glen. He's been consistent throughout the final few races of the season as well. Pointed his way up last week after Bristol Dirt into the top 10 in the standings, and now looking to solidify the playoff spot here tomorrow afternoon from P1. Waiting for that official word that this qualifying session is over. Stay tuned later on this afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Duracell Ultra Light Series regular season finale. We'll find out who's going to be in the playoffs for the very first time in that series, as last season it did not have a playoff system. And then tomorrow afternoon here at 1 o'clock, it is the Cup Series drivers for their regular season finale. Mentioned we know about 8 drivers that are going to be locked into the playoffs when the green flag flies. Half of our playoff grid already predetermined. The second half still to find out. As we gave you your top 10 there, let's find out some of those other drivers that we highlighted. Must-win situations for Daniel Voiles, RJ Bishop, and Nathan Ormond. Looks like Voiles will start 14th. I do not see Ormond or Bishop anywhere here towards the front of the field. Bishop back in 38th. Ormond is 36th. This is a track you can pass at, though, so don't really take all these starting positions with a grain of salt. Anybody from first back to 42nd will be able to win here tomorrow afternoon with this type of a racetrack. Connor Breton needs to get back in the top 30 in points for his 2 wins to count toward his playoff spot. He's starting back in the 35th position. A lot of names back here. We'll be keeping an eye on Ryan Brommer fighting for the regular season championship, 31st. Gunther trying to point his way in, 34th. Rowe 1 week removed from his victory last week at Bristol Dirt, 37th. 4-time winner Destin Bolin there in 39th. Osborne and Moore trying to point their way in. Back here in 40th and 41st. And Autumn Brooks pulling the double here this weekend. We'll see her in about a couple hours' time fighting for a playoff spot on the Light Series side. Going to be shotgun on the field. But that is how they're going to line up for tomorrow afternoon's race. Michael Norman will be leading us to the final green flag of this regular season in Season 8. Hope you guys will join us tomorrow afternoon as we will get ready to determine the Season 8 Duracell Next Gen Cup Series playoff grid. Hope you guys enjoyed this session. If you did, be sure to give a like, subscribe, part of the crew today. We have shown you your starting lineup for tomorrow afternoon's race here at 1, Lights race later on this afternoon at 3. And until whichever time you tune back in here, you've been watching another broadcast on SRA TV, offline racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.